Lettuce heads, we are back with another edition of the Please Let Us Golf
What
podcast,
up?
the podcast. We got a fun one tonight. We're taking on the most underrated golfers. Each of us, we got two picks. We're going to pick a modern current player and an all-time golfer, the all-time underrated golfer. With us tonight, yours truly, Goldie, Mr. Golfberg. Adam,
What
say
up?
hello to the world, boys.
Hello.
What's
All
up, world?
We are going to spin the magical wheel. And boom.
Hello, planet Earth.
I will take the first one. So we are going with the most underrated current modern golfer. I got some notes over here, just a little reference material. Mm-hmm. I'm going with a Mr. Hideki Matsuyama. I think Hideki is clearly a top 10 player in the world, probably like around 6-ish, if I had to go there. But I don't think if you did a common poll of the average golf fan, he would net out in most people's top 10. Let's go to the tape. 19 professional wins, 10 on the PGA Tour. We've won a Masters. We've won at Riv. Also, there's iconic moments he's delivered. I know the caddy bowing at the Masters, but the cultural impact of that. I don't know if you remember a couple years back, the 3-wood in that, was it the Sony in Hawaii, like 275, a mile in the air, flags at the 2 feet. A lot of people don't realize he's been riddled with very nagging injuries. He was going to win probably again. He just won a couple weeks ago. He was going to win again probably this week, and his back again went out on him. He literally, when he's fit, he's as flusher of a golf ball there is. He hits the driver and the fairway wood as high and pure as anybody out there. The little upright toe thing on the putting, a little unbecoming, but overall, I think he's about as good as it gets. But I also had another reason for this. This is all subjective, but his cultural influence in Japan, people don't realize over here. A lot of it's a language barrier because he's never adopted speaking English. Speaking through an interpreter is tough.
Which is also a flex, right?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, like I ain't learning your language. No. You learn. Why don't we all learn Japanese? He's a mega star over there. Not like he dwarfs any golfer's popularity over here. There's a reason why Liv was offering him the biggest contract besides like Tiger Woods and maybe Rory. Japan per capita is like the largest golf market there is. And so is that fair to say he's underrated? But I think his value to the game is severely underrated to his talent. And he's a fun golfer to watch. It is good, frustrating when he gets these lulls. He doesn't get a ton of coverage because he's not as much of a U.S. needle mover. But, man, when he gets it going, he's just a fun golfer to watch. And I'm here to stamp the table. I am here to ride that. I think Hideki is the most underrated current golfer.
I love that take.
The one thing I'll say is his putting has been very up and down over the years. And what I don't like is – like he's always used that same blade putter. He's never gone the Scotty route where, maybe we try something different. But he's just, I don't know. He's always struggled with the putter. That's kind of kept him back.
Hey man, be careful what you wish for. Maybe someone's going to convince him over there to go to a mallet, maybe get that toe a little bit down. And yeah,
what I know about Hideki, when he's winning, it looks absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. He looks like the best Scotty player in the world when he does.
Yeah. He's hitting balls 2 inches from the hole if he's not making them. Yeah. He doesn't even have to putt. When he's good, he doesn't really have to putt. And then he makes a 10 or a 15 footer. It's like you can't beat him.
I'm going to butcher it, but there is some stat out there that it was similar to Scotty in 23, but it's like every time he's like positive strokes gained putting or something, or like in the top 40% of the field, he's like won 90% of the time, something ridiculous like that.
God.
But yeah, I'm here to ride for my man Decky. So
why is it so hard for him?
I don't know,
Figure it out, bro. Got a whole country riding for you. Just
maybe this will get to him, and we can just go talk to him about our philosophy.
It's such a technologically savvy culture. I mean, just ahead of the curve. Don't they have some putter they can make for this guy? He's getting before he gets too old.
That's true.
I love Hideki.
Yeah, no, he's yeah. You said too old too. You know, he's 32, so he's got another good 8 years of playing like
Freddie
high
won the
level golf.
Masters when he was 32.
Did he now?
I
Uh,
can rattle off facts like that all day.
just the hell yeah. All right, well, let's not belabor the point on Decky. And any final thoughts before we move on? All right,
No,
let's do it.
good take.
Adam, most underrated current golfer.
So I'm gonna go with Mr. Justin Rose. So when you look at
Rosie.
Rosie, so when you look at his resume, it doesn't really like jump off the page. He's got 25 wins worldwide, 11 on the PGA Tour, 11 on the DP World Tour, which is pretty cool. Obviously can play a wide variety of different golf courses. He's obviously got the one major win at Marion in 2013. Um, he turned pro in 1998, so he has played basically the entire prime of his career in the Tiger era, the Phil era, and the Rory era. I think those guys like just from like 2000 to 2015, they accumulated like I don't know, it's like they've won like 1/3 of the total majors from that period. So so
Maybe
you,
even more
you
than that.
so
Yeah.
you, I mean you look at okay, he's got one major win, but when you kind of put it in that perspective that like the competition that he's going against is literally like, potentially three of the top 10, 15 best players of all time. I mean, it's pretty impressive. And he's had a long career too. And it's still going. I mean, people forget he won at Pebble last year. The dude's
Hmm.
like 44 years old. And here recently he almost won the Open. Had a T2 in super tough conditions. And he's kind of doing this all in the air where you've got to drive the ball a mile and he doesn't hit it far. So he's just I don't know, man. He's super impressive. He's a complete player. Ryder Cup resume is unbelievable. It's like he's like 14-9 in the Ryder Cup. Had a great Ryder Cup this past one at
Hmm.
Marco Simone. I don't know, man. He just keeps going.
Great
Oh,
name.
hell yeah, yeah. That is an underrated part. Seriously, Justin Rose. Aaron, any Rosie takes?
Yeah, that I love Justin Rose, truly. And 5 years ago, if you asked me that, I might not have said that. I don't know what it is about him. I think he's one of those guys that the longer he's stuck around, the more you kind of go, yeah, this guy ain't, he definitely ain't bad. I mean, he's a good golfer, but even his personality, I think like the more I've checked him out, like on Instagram and stuff, he's definitely got a good sense of humor. He's obviously good as hell. I just like the guy. Yeah, great take.
Yeah.
Underrated.
So,
Yeah.
all right, I like it.
And one
We're
of my
seeing.
favorite majors shorts we ever made features Justin Rose.
Yes, I wasn't going to
So
bring that up, but I thought that was perhaps a little bit of a deep cut. But all right,
he
Aaron,
mocks his opponent.
your most underrated modern golfer or
I'm gonna
current
do this.
golfer.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this quick because it's not as heady as the picks you guys made. You made legit good picks. Maybe this guy's soon to be underrated, or if people aren't thinking about him. But I'm really into this Jake Knapp guy.
You can't
Okay,
quit him.
listen.
Golly.
Okay, listen. I am I am such a sucker for swing tempo. Like I fucking love it. And he is elite. He has elite. I don't even get it. As a matter of fact, apparently he's seventh on the tour in ball speed, and this guy swings as smooth as anyone you've ever seen. All of it comes from this torque that just starts with this pause. It's unreal. So, and by the way, he's a really good putter. And when he was winning a bunch, he was gaining like 1.7 strokes around. Like he can definitely putt. And at first, I'm like, okay, but he cut a deal with PXG. What's that? Well, he's young. Maybe he just needed the money. I'm reading,
Mhm.
so fine. You do what you got to do. But apparently, he was smart enough to make it an 8 club deal, so he can still pick his drivers. He picks his putter, his wedges. It basically just fills in his irons. So definitely a smart guy. Former nightclub bouncer.
Oh
So
shit.
think mustache, think the hair. This guy, think Patrick Swayze Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from this Jake Knapp guy. Slight build, but clearly is an athlete. Fucking slams a bomb. Guess what? he won a tournament his rookie year, badass, and then he got like third the next week. He got fourth like a week later, and I'm pretty sure he got injured. I tried to fact check it. I couldn't find
We
the
just
info
want
that I know is out there. I think he's injured. Regardless, see, I think he had a phenomenal start to his career, and he has a shitload of talent, elite swing. I'm looking forward to him being a badass. So I think he's underrated, man.
So what's cool is we all apply a different definition of what underrated means. Yours is like a little bit of a long term invest. Yours is a hold. You think he's a
Yeah.
potential blue chip.
Hmm.
There's an aesthetic play there. We're down with the aesthetic. Does have a cool swing. I don't know if he's underrated, and from my perspective on a raw golf, but that's your take, and we're here to support you and Mr. Knapp.
Thank you.
All
Appreciate
right.
that.
All right, so we rounded out the modern current golfers underrated. We're going deep here, guys. All
Hmm.
time. Everyone loves a good
Hell
all
yeah.
time debate, whether it's goats, whether it's woats. Well, we're going all time underrated golfer. I struggled with this one. Out of everything we've done so far, I don't. This one was hard because it's like I was like, man, everyone kind of seems properly rated. But then you get into, are you talking like from a golf industry, golf sicko perspective, or like the general sports fan, casual Sunday PGA Tour live watcher,
Mm.
right? I netted out at Sir Nick Faldo. I think some people would hear that and go like, oh, everyone loves Nick. Nick's great. But then when I started doing research, like top 10 golfers of all time, Mount Rushmore of golfers, not saying he should be on the Mount Rushmore, he wasn't on anything. You just go on the internet, you look up, you got to get to like number 20 before he starts getting named. You're talking about a guy, not only did Mr. Faldo have 30 wins on the European Tour, and people go, oh, it's the European Tour. Well, he's playing on the European Tour at a time when it was more dominant than the PGA Tour. He was going up against like hitter on hitter on hitter of when like the Euro Ryder Cup team was huge. Didn't play a ton on the PGA Tour, but we know he won 3 Masters. He won 3 Open championships, and
Mm.
he's a certified
Damn.
serial killer. But winning 3
That's a
Opens, 3
phenomenal major breakdown, though.
yeah,
3 Masters, 3 Opens. That's ridiculous.
yeah, you can't fake your
That's
way to that. And the way he won them, some were dominant, some he chased people down on Sundays. He was really one of the most confident golfers you'll ever watch. The hatless wonder. His hands were insane. He just knows how to hit every shot, and like there was something attainable to it, right? It wasn't like he wasn't he wasn't the leader in power, right? He was not some kind of freak prodigy. He was just all around good as shit in golf. And even
hmm
it challenged me because I always think like, who's my top 10? And it's like, yeah, he was never in my list. I was like, man, he probably should be. Those 30 wins on the European Tour at a time when the European Tour was what, like, think of the guys you think of today, like the Rorys and DJs that have 20 something PGA Tour wins. Like, dude, this dude was balling out in a
Well,
non
who was he
frivolous
playing
time.
against back then?
I mean, think of all the stalwart, what
Seve,
Seve and like that whole list of
Colin.
Ryder Cups, all of them from he just
Yeah.
rattle them off. Yeah, and then just his prominence in the Ryder Cup. Yeah. Okay. Again, in '77, beating Nicholas, and then he beat Watson in the singles to get the fig. I mean, dude, this guy was absolute
Yeah.
fucking killer.
I will say 2 of his Masters wins. I think one of them was the Greg Norman meltdown, right?
It was the meltdown.
And then another one of them, I feel like there was some other meltdown, maybe too. I don't know.
So think about the Norman one. I guess everyone goes, it's the Norman meltdown. I think he shot like a bogey free 67 though,
He
man.
did play.
And remember, he said on like the second hole, he like saw his grip changing and his tension, and he was like, I know I'm gonna kill this guy today. Like that's
Yeah, brother.
it's
Yeah.
sick, man. All right, I'm
All right.
stamping the table with that one. Adam, most underrated all time golfer.
Yeah, so I went back and forth on this one, and where I settled, I almost feel like it's kind of like a Chat GPT answer. Like if you type in "who's the most underrated golfer," this guy might come up. I don't know. I just kind of ran across of him, and I was like, "Holy smokes, this guy's stats are like incredible." But I'm going with Billy Casper. So
You don't sound passionate about it though. Like you got tricked into it by the
You feel
stats.
like AI made you choose this.
It
It
just
You,
did.
did.
you
It was too
I
logical
kinda
to
feel
just
no,
refuse.
no, I
bring the
feel very good
receipts.
about it. I feel very good
Okay,
about it.
Okay.
hit us
Alright,
with it.
so if you don't know, Mr. Billy Casper, he played from 1954 to 1975, so he had a very long career.
Yeah,
And, he was kind of overshadowed by, a few of the other Titans in the game during that time period. You got Jack, you got Arnie, you got, Gary
Watson. Yeah.
Player. But, so from 54 to 75, he won at least one tournament every year except for 3 seasons. He was a 3-time major winner, won the US Open twice, won the Masters once. Something that really surprised me, 51 PGA Tour wins, which is 7th all time. I mean,
Damn.
that's pretty good. Something else. So he won the Varden Trophy 5 times, which the Varden Trophy goes to the over the course of the PGA Tour season, the person with the lowest scoring average. He won that 5 times. That's second to only Tiger.
Oh, sheesh.
Yeah, yeah,
Sheesh.
yeah. And I feel like the Varden Trophy is kind of like, I mean, it's essentially who the PGA Tour Player of the Year is almost. I mean, you go
Yeah.
back and just look at the last 3 years. It's like Scotty, Rom, Rory. It's kind of a good indicator of how good of a season you had, dude. I mean, 5 times, second only to Tiger, is pretty strong. And lastly, man, this guy was an absolute Ryder Cup killer. So he played in 8 Ryder Cups, 8-0, 8-0.
Oh, damn.
Not only that, he captained the team in 1979. And they also won. So 9-0 in the Ryder Cup. And
Jeez.
one last thing, he was the total points leader for the U.S. Ryder Cup for men's in the U.S. Ryder Cup team, like all time until like Phil, like I think a couple years like broke it. But he had the most points total in a Ryder Cup.
Yo, Adam, who the fuck is Billy Casper?
Yeah, dude.
Who even heard of this guy before? He's the
This
most
is
dominant golfer you've never heard of.
Well,
the
look,
I mean,
friendly
not that many
ghost.
people heard of him, but
so I chose him because like he just got he played in the wrong time period. I mean, like when you got Jack and
the
Arnie and
50s.
Gary just sucking up all the air and all the majors, he kind of just got really overshadowed by those guys.
Great name. Another great name.
Yeah,
I
Billy
love it.
Casper. So okay, you
He
want to
was, he
any
was,
closing
yeah.
toss on the friendly golfer, Mr. Billy Casper? All right,
I'm
let's.
good. Hopefully, Aaron learned something because I could tell
Friendly golfer.
maybe didn't know
Thank
a
you.
whole lot about Billy Casper and how much of just an absolute menace he was, but
Mm,
There is no question I learned something. That was awesome. Who knew?
hell yeah.
What a
All right,
record.
Mr. Golfberg, round us out. The most underrated golfer of all time.
Right, underrated. Like, why aren't people talking about this guy anymore when they bring up golfers from when I grew up, the 90s especially? I just feel like VJ Singh isn't getting his due anymore, and he earned it. He earned it 10 times over. And the more I research this guy, I'm like, oh my God, he's a badass. Like, cool stuff. First of all, what I remember back in the day, well, first of all, take a big step back. One of the sickest swings ever. Obviously, I'm a swing guy. Unreal tempo from this guy. Who are the 3 goats, right? Ernie, VJ, Freddie from back in the day.
Jake Knapp.
Just well, he's inching his way onto.
No.
There is room for a 4th on Rushmore. Um, but just an unbelievably pretty swing, right? And apparently, some cool shit about him when he started off. Asian Tour first year, he starts winning immediately, and he was dominating so much that like one of the people who kind of ran the tour like didn't like him and came up with some cheating scandal and got him banned from the Asian Tour. Have you ever heard this before?
Mm-mm.
Crazy story. So BJ, after dominating a little bit, maybe he was like, I think this dude's wife like was into VJ or something. He's a young dude coming up, tall, good looking guy, playing great golf. Anyway, gets booted
The
off
big
the Asian
Fijian.
tour. The big Fijian. He drank that amazing water growing up, and it just produced just one of the sickest golfers we've ever seen. So then he goes to the European Tour, immediately wins again. First year, winning and kicking ass. goes to the PGA Tour, immediately wins again, winning first year, and then was PGA Rookie of the Year, which is super cool. Had some really awesome years. Like apparently it was, give me a second here. Was it in 2004, he ended Tiger's ranked number one streak of 264 weeks. He was just that kind of guy. He could contend. He won the PGA Championship at Sahalee Country Club in
It's close to home.
in my home state. Yeah, super hard course. Beat Ernie Els to win the Masters in 2000. Badass tournament. So he's got 3 majors. Won 9 times in 2004, including the PGA. What else, dude? This guy's just a badass. 34 wins total. Kind of cool. And last thing, because just rattling off facts, but whatever. In his second PGA Championship, final round, sort of struggles a bit, doesn't make a single birdie, and has to go into a playoff. Then birdie's the first playoff hole to win it. That's got to be a good feeling. Yeah, that's pretty sick. So anyway, Vijay Singh's my guy. Tons of facts.
Yeah. I think what's interesting about these is there's probably people that would think there was more obvious choices, but I think we did a pretty good job of you're finding those players that played in a period of time in which, like VJ obviously had Tiger, right? So to do what he did in the Tiger era, there was no other era of dominance while you were peaking, right? Like to that.
By the
level.
way, Phil Mickelson never dethroned Tiger. VJ did though. I think he was the only guy to do that.
Yeah. When
Took
Tiger's
him off his
peak
block.
was
Anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm down with it. He was the workhorse. The guy's still beating balls in the back of the range at TPC Sawgrass. Sources are saying, silky smooth swing, good as shit at golf, man. Yeah, that season where I think you said he won 9 times that year. Doing that,
That's
like
crazy.
in the suffocating Tiger era, that's not a lot of extra W's to go pick up. So I can ride with that. I was never the biggest VJ guy, but I think it's a fair pick, Adam.
I just love that he's like a huge range rat, man. He just goes out and beats balls for hours at Sawgrass.
1,000 a day.
You see, he's doing those tire drills now too. I saw he was like hammering a sledgehammer into a tire.
He looks good, right?
Meanwhile, I was on a treadmill. I did a mile today, and my hip flexors are just done. This guy's in his 60s beating the shit out of a tire with a sledgehammer. It's the best. Cool. All right, guys. Underrated golfers. I think we did it justice. Can we do it? Can we even test my brain to know if I can recap all that? I could do mine. So can I even do mine? So my underrated modern golfer was none other than I did Hideki Matsuyama. Feels like a long time ago. Oh, yeah. And Sir Nick Faldo. Adam, who do we run out with?
Justin Rose and Mr. Billy Casper.
Friendly golfer. And Aaron?
And Aaron chose Jake Knapp and Vijay Singh.
All right, there it is. It is the 6 most underrated golfers of all time, basically, in the Please Let Us Golf podcast.
I just realized Vijay Singh rhymes with golf swing. What do you think about that?
Who could have thunk it?
What do you think about that?
I do think
that just blew me.
I think that's a perfect way to end this edition of the Please Let Us Golf podcast. The podcast. Stay plugged.
Comment, like, subscribe.
We didn't do the other ones yet.
That's another episode.
That is another episode.